Kalonzo Musyoka's watermelon tag for initially flip-flopping on the 2010 constitution.
Odinga apokea hiyo ripoti.
They say when unsure about it, just dance it out. And for one William Samoei Arap Ruto, picking his tune, no matter how unpopular it is on the political dance floor, has in the recent past been the least of his fears. Having, for instance, mounted a vicious campaign against the 2010 constitution, only to ironically emerge among its first beneficiaries with his accession to the deputy president post in 2013. Yet the man, now only a heartbeat away from the country's top seat, has lately been at political crossroads, taking what his critics term as a rather vague stand on the President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga-led Building Bridges Initiative referendum push.
We have taken the position that there is room for us to improve this document further.
But what really are Ruto's options with the BBI proponents, having already inked 5.2 million signatures in support of the referendum bill? While some radical Ruto allies have been pushing for the DP to stage a vicious no campaign against the document, on the assumption that it would sustain his anti-Odinga momentum heading to the 2022 polls. Some moderate strategists in the Ruto camp have been banking on legal hurdles to delay the referendum to at least August next year, which would legally bar implementation of the proposals in the subsequent 2022 general election, through several cases already before court, among these being a petition by Makueni Governor Kivutha Kibwana, seeking a Supreme Court advisory on whether a national or county government can steer a popular referendum initiative as the Kenyatta-led BBI plebiscite, and a similar suit by Kericho and Nandi County Assembly speakers, seeking the Apex Court's opinion on, among other issues, whether any county assembly can amend the referendum bill once published. Some analysts argue that should staging a no campaign prove futile, Ruto could play neutral at the tail end and eventually keep off the referendum campaigns altogether, as his calls for further amendment of the document now fall on deaf ears.
He is on record saying his concerns were addressed after consultations, further consultations with the party leader. I would like him to come out and tell Kenyans what exactly in this BBI proposed amendment bill he is uncomfortable with.
Given the COVID status and given the status of the economy, I am sure an uncontested referendum would be the way to go, because it will save the hard-earned economy some life.
Yet a greater headache confronts key BBI proponents should Ruto eventually not stage any campaigns against the referendum bill. A low voter turnout at the plebiscite, either due to lack of a formidable no campaign against the document or the raging economic turmoil following the COVID-19 pandemic, some analysts argue, could as well be politically interpreted as a silent message of the lack of enthusiasm towards a Kenyatta succession roadmap anchored on political formations resulting from the pro-BBI referendum campaigns.
The civic education that we are going to go through will help in raising awareness about the changes. And then the build-up will be to encourage people to come out and vote, whichever way.
But you see, I am deputy president today, and I have the interests of every Kenyan. There are people who support us, and they want a real choice.
What William is telling us, that with a lot of conditionalities on what he's suggesting, on what he wants, that is obviously, you can sum it up as if he's not interested in this BBI at all. And I know he has advised his people to go slow, but they will not participate in this BBI.
And as the spotlight turns to electoral body IEBC's signatures verification exercise, The next battlefield will be the 47 county assemblies, of which BBI proponents need a mandatory 24 to guarantee the referendum push a survival, as key political supremos crack their heads on how to simultaneously hack the referendum puzzle and strategic pre-2022 realignments as the Kenyatta succession politics intensify. Murimi Mwangi, KTN News.
So let me bring in political analyst Gabriel Muthuma joining us via way of phone into this conversation. Mr. Muthuma, good morning, and thank you for talking to us here on KTN News Center. So the Deputy President is in a big dilemma, as President Uhuru Kenyatta, ODM leader Raila Odinga moved BBI process to the IEBC when it comes to verification of signatures. So what options does he have as we speak?
Good morning, and thanks for having me. Now, you talked about options. Well, I think first of all, let's give some element of credence to where this belongs. That Deputy William Ruto is a politician of a higher caliber, and as such, I don't think there's a way that he may be found flat-footed. Just like how I wouldn't expect the caliber of somebody like Honorable Raila Odinga to be caught flat-footed in such an environment. What I see happening is, after Deputy William Ruto has actually pushed to have a non-contested referendum, I think there's a conversation going on as we speak. Let's wait and see, first of all, what happens at IEBC during the verification of the signatures, and then what comes back. Are they going to keep on pushing for a non-contested, or is there going to be that strong footing that we have closed this chapter of BBI, like the proponents are saying? You've had 2 years to bring up the issues that you wanted sorted. We have actually gone a step further and actually included some of the demands that you wanted after the Bomas meeting, where there was the unveiling of BBI. So, in a nutshell, you will be having the proponents of BBI saying, you know what, we have really tried to accommodate you and the brigade that was bending on the north side. So if you're looking for an uncontested, then here you have it. So it's a matter of wait and see now, but I can guarantee you, I still think the person of William Ruto has several options to play around with. He has made it very clear that he's not going to lead the no campaign.
But then, Muthuma, from explanation, then is Ruto's recent pronouncements on the BBI document a debate on his next political move? Can we say that?
It could, because, as a politician, let me tell you, you have to gauge and you have to weigh your options. And not only that, you must see where the people are. The people in this case what's the general feeling of Kenyans? Are they ready to get into the BBI wagon? And those who are not ready to get into the BBI wagon, what do they want? Do they want to be included in this process, or do they just want to say no to BBI? So I think it's all about numbers, and this is what I feel it will come down to. Where are the numbers? What are the majority of Kenyans saying towards BBI? And I think as a clever politician, that is where you will see many politicians going.
All right, Muthuma, you're just echoing what ODM leader, the handshake partner, Raila Odinga, asked the Deputy President, William Ruto, a few days ago to declare, his stand on the BBI, whether he's a yes person or a no person. But at the same time, his foot soldiers are telling him, don't declare your stand, don't even say that you're not supporting the BBI, because it will look like you're going against your boss, who is President Uhuru Kenyatta, who's also at the front leading this campaign for amending the constitution.
In a normal environment, a referendum usually produces two things: a yes or a no contest. You are for BBI, then you vote yes. You are not for BBI, then you vote no. I mean, generally in a referendum, it usually goes to, and this, I'm not just talking about the BBI. You saw during the promulgation of the Constitution 2010. Before, you had proponents who said yes, the oranges, and we had the bananas. Those that were in the camp of, yes, they were going this direction, and those that were not were going this direction. Now, Deputy William Ruto has introduced us to something else, which he's calling a kind of a multiple choice, if you will, where you have a set of questions that are rated to say, do you agree with this line, yes or no? Further on, do you agree with this line down here? Further, yes, or, it is more of a, I think it's a sixth question. I have not seen it, but I can understand where he's trying to take us with it. And he is saying if we go that way, then we are going to have a referendum that will not produce what you would say a yes or a no per se. It will produce something that Kenyans have said we want. But we also have to sit down and ask ourselves, at the end of the day, is it going to produce the no camp or the yes camp? And I believe when you look at what Raila is saying, he is saying at this point you have to be in the yes or a no. And you have to also look at what Deputy William Ruto is saying. He is saying we do not need a yes or a no. We need a no contest where we produce a document that majority of Kenyans want. And by the way, we are sitting in a very precarious position because if we don't handle this process well, it is going to divide this country. And so you have people who are actually looking in and saying, hey guys, if we can save these billions we are being told that it will take to do this BBI, can we come up with a document where we all agree? It is not easy, by the way. This one I have to caution and tell you, it is not going to be easy to find a document where every person...
And Muthuma, I like the fact that you're saying that it is possible to have a document, for Kenyans to go for a referendum without being, speaking in one voice. But is it possible for the country to have a non-contested referendum? Because that is what the Deputy President William Ruto has been calling for.
It is, by the way, let me say this. It is very possible, but also very hard. Because, first of all, you're talking about extra civic education. And by the way, that civic education, the only thing that can hinder it is the time. Mostly time, not resources as much, because we can try to bring it in such a way that it would cost much. But it will take time to educate people on these questions, the multiple questions that we are talking about.
All right.
So it is doable, but very hard.
Doable, but very hard. But then, Muthuma, let's look at what happened, at the Bomas of Kenya. So the Deputy President, William Ruto, had some concerns about that BBI report. Then the final document, the Constitution Amendment Bill that was produced by the team BBI, amended some of the things the DP wanted amended. Yes. Is the DP being played in public, and especially when it comes to his supporters?
But there are two things which the Deputy President was so concerned about in the Bomas. The first one was the IEPC, from going the IPPG way. And let's face it, we still had the IPPG in 2007, 2008, and it really did not help much. So there was that element which many Kenyans kind of got, the hang of where the Deputy President was going. And then there was the Police Council, which actually, was streamlined later, and it was removed from the process. So there, you are right to say that there were things that, he aired, and they were actually caught by the committee, and they were actually straightened. So is this the case of where you say, and I know you've had this adage before, where they say you give a mouse a cookie today, tomorrow it will come for a glass of milk. Is this what we are witnessing? And that's why you hear many people are starting to tell the Deputy President, my friend, are you serious about this thing? So after we solve this, what other things will you go out there and come up with? Is this a case that we are going to see? But
right.
Bottom line is we can have a non-contested referendum. That is the truth. By the way, we can.
All right. So, Muthuma,
yes, go ahead.
Muthuma, just echoing what John Badi said just a few days ago. We had him on News Center, but actually on Monday. But then it looks like this race for the BBI is between Deputy President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga.
In fact, that's how it's shaping out to be. But I don't think that's where it is. If we are to be at all serious, BBI has some great things in it. That is a fact. There are also other things that many people, including what Musalia Mudavadi was saying, there are other things that he believes can be ironed out, as we move along. So we need to be mindful of this entire process.
All right.
What probably many leaders are not calling upon, and I don't know why they are shying away. Many people, I've seen the churches, the church leadership has come out. We also saw the Muslim faith also came out of their wrath of things that they would.
All right. So Muthuma, what is the political interest of the president in this whole BBI, debate? Yes, 2022 is supposed to exit leadership, but his political interest, because there's some political,